Here before? All right, who's never seen a show here? Here, we got a good mix. I'll tell you what we have sometimes. We have what we do. Who here's been here before? We've had our what we call our Rocky Balboa slot. You guys remember that? That's when we take a local underdog who's never performed comedy before. Imagine, this is your first time performing in front of a capacity crowd. I would be shaking like Mike Tyson in a spelling bee. This guy's going to step up. He's going to try to rock the house for you. Let's support him. We'll give him a few minutes because we got our headliner coming up next. But any Chadaholics out there? Well, let's bring up the gutsy guy for the Rocky Balboa slot, chadcomedy.
Research on comedy this week, and they said that good comedians make you laugh 18 seconds per minute. All right? So I'm going to start, and you start laughing. You ready? I'm going to time it. So here we go. See, it bombed, right? It doesn't work. No, actually, it was really interesting. Randy sent me a text today, and he goes, "Hey, bud, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to move you from the opening act to right before the main guy, right before the headliner." And at first, I was like, at Starbucks, and I'm like, dude, like, he must really think I'm something special. You know, that's like pretty awesome. And I got thinking, you know, I've been speaking for about 20 years now. And I'm like, isn't there a word like for the guy or for the time right between like two main acts? And I was like, oh yeah, intermission. That's what it is right there, okay? So enjoy your time tonight, guys. Enjoy your popcorn in your bathroom. I am the intermission. That's what I am. The main act will begin shortly. That's okay, Randy, because I am used to people telling me one thing and meaning another. Like, for instance, all day today on Facebook, people have been saying, break a leg, man, go break a leg. I'm like, is there something like really attractive or maybe really funny about a performer up here with like hobbling on crutches? And like, what do they mean by like break a leg? I mean, that's not even funny. Like, is Tanya Harding coming out with a baseball bat? Like, what's going on? Like, break a leg. But then I got thinking, no, they actually mean something very, you know, very well. They're saying break a leg, but really what they mean is do extraordinarily well. And it reminded me when I lived in South Carolina. These beautiful old ladies would, you know, you would be pouring your heart out to them and tell them about all the problems in your marriage and how you're broke and how you lost your job and how you can't potty train your dog. And, you know, they would just look at you with these beautifully rosy cheeks and great eyes, and they would say, oh, bless your heart. You guys ever have that? Say it with me, ready? Oh, bless your heart. Now see, they say that, but they really mean something else. Really what they mean is, oh, you're such an idiot. That's what that means, okay? That's what they mean. That's what bless your heart means. So, but I am making my stand-up comedy debut. Well, not really. I did a couple warm-up shows. The first show was in a hot tub at Lifetime Fitness, actually. That's right, and now that's a good venue. You know, smelly, wishy-washy, full of hot air. You know, sort of like talking to a room full of Democrats, right there, right? Actually, my audience was 5 very hairy and extraordinarily large people. There were a couple of guys in there as well. They all thought my routine was funny, except for this one guy, you know, who got really offended when I told a homeschool joke. Now, I wasn't for sure if he was homeschooled or if he always wore jeans in the pool. I had no idea, you know. But you know, he got really offended. He jumps out of the hot tub and he runs out and he goes, "That's not funny. I was homeschooled and that was the goodest thing that ever happened to me." Oh, that's funny. I also performed at a bar. Randy told me about this bar I could go perform. They do open mics, right? And I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but what I realized that this open bar was this is basically where uneducated people get up there, they spew their opinions, and they try to disguise their bias and bigotry with a little bit of humor. And I was like, that sounds a lot like the Republican National Convention right there. Hey, I'm an equal opportunity offender here, okay? Come on now. No, the comedian was really interesting. The guy right before me, he looked a lot like Cy from Duck Dynasty. Any Duck Dynasty fans in the house? You know what I'm talking about? He had that big, long, straggly beard, long, greasy hair, had a headband on, had camouflage shorts. He had, flip-flops with socks on, and he had a pack of smokes in his arm. And he's getting up there, and he's got like this accent, and he's talking about religion, man, how stupid religion is, and how bad churches are. They're just a bunch of idiots, and, especially those pastors, man. And I'm like thinking, I'm not necessarily sure you're the right guy to be talking about stupid, unlearned people here, okay? But he gets up there, and he's bashing pastors, and he's like, pastors, they're just such idiots, and they got all this made-up stuff, and they find a way to get paid for it. And I felt really awkward, because I went on right after him, and I said, hi, everybody, I'm Chad Thibodeau, and I'm a pastor. I mean, very awkward, right? Very awkward. That's right, I was a pastor for many, many years. Anybody go to church in here? So that means that pretty much everything that I say today is going to be ripped off of a Joel Osteen or Rick Warren sermon. We will be taking an offering here in just a moment. That's just what pastors do. And I heard that all proceeds tonight are going to be benefiting Arizona youth, a.k.a. the 3 Thibodeau kids, okay? There we go. But pastors, when I was doing church work, pretty difficult stuff. We worked with some very, very difficult people. I mean, if you think about it, there were, drug addicts, there were alcoholics, there were womanizers, and that's just the people on my staff. I mean, come on. I got asked a lot of crazy questions as a pastor. Questions like, are heaven and hell real places? Was there such thing as the Great Flood? Can you be a Dallas Cowboys fan and still go to heaven? I mean, all kinds of questions. But the number one question by far that I got was, what color was Jesus? I mean, big debates in the theological realm. What color was Jesus? Was he black or was he white? And I got thinking about that and said, I don't want to be racist or anything, but I happen to think that Jesus was Mexican. Anybody agree with me here? I mean, think about it. I mean, first, his name was Jesus, okay? Second, his dad was a carpenter. And third, his mom got pregnant with hardly doing anything, okay? He had to be a Mexican. That's all I'm saying. No, I'm not preaching right now. I don't have a home church. And I do have some people from my old church here. Anybody from my old church here? Yeah, there we go. It's funny, one of them came up to me and said, Pastor Chad, now that you're not a preacher anymore and you don't have a home church, where do you pay your tithe? I go, that's a great Baptist question right there. And I'm like, I have decided to give my money to a Christian organization that feeds children. Chick-fil-A, right there. That's what I'm talking about. No, I always hesitate to tell people that I'm a pastor because, they have a lot of preconceived ideas. For instance, that comedian, Cy, came up to me and afterwards, and he apologized, and he said, I'm sorry, man, I just think that all pastors are hypocrites, they're corrupt, and they're all out to get your money. I said, dude, do not confuse me with Hillary Clinton, okay? Speaking of Hillary Clinton, a couple days ago I had my 42nd birthday. So I did a very unpastoral thing, and I decided to treat myself to a drink. And so I went to the bar, and I grabbed the drink menu, and I was reading it, and I noticed on there that they had a drink called Hillary Clinton. And I was really confused by that. I'm like, what in the world is this drink called Hillary Clinton? And the bartender says, oh, well, that's where you buy a really expensive drink that you can't afford and get the person beside you to pay for it. I grew up a preacher's kid, which is pretty interesting, which really could only mean one thing. I was hands down the worst behaved kid in church. And don't worry, I know some of you guys are thinking, oh my gosh, so there are PKs here. There's no PKs in the room. They're all outside vandalizing your car right now, okay? But my parents must have loved preacher's kids because they had 12 of them. Yeah, 12 kids, that's right. Now I know I'm in Arizona, so I probably should clarify this. Only one wife. Yeah, that's it, just one wife, okay? They didn't have more than one. But yeah, there really were 12 of us Thibodeaus, and we all grew up in Indiana, just like all the good Cajuns do, okay? But now we're all spread out. We live in Indiana and Washington and Oregon and Texas and Maryland, and some are dead, I don't know. It wasn't really funny, but thank you for laughing for my deceased. But growing up, you get all these crazy things, and I got thinking about that, 12 kids. That's a lot of kids. And I don't know if my parents were just really bad at math, or if they just didn't care, but we drove a 6-passenger Buick. One time, I went from Indiana, we drove from Indiana to Washington State, and my seat in that Buick was the back window. Anybody have to ride in the back window growing up? Somebody asked me, like, well, what in the world was that like? And I said, you know, I don't know if I can explain this any other way, but just to tell you, it was like being underwear in a Rosie O'Donnell wedgie. That's all I can tell you, okay? It's hot, it's sweaty, a bit smelly, you know. When you stop, you know, you get pulled out for some temporary relief, but when you take off, you get put right back in. I have no idea. That's all I know. But it was pretty crazy. But so when I became a parent, I wanted to give my kids a little better upbringing than we had, because we were pretty poor. And, you know, so I said, you know, if I ever have 12 kids, I want to give them a different means of transportation. So a couple Christmases ago, I bought them a Razor. You guys know what a Razor is? A Razor is basically a skateboard with a pole that comes out. And my 2-year-old son, you know, I got it to him for Christmas, and he was out in the parking lot, or in our driveway, and he was riding this thing around, and he's going like crazy, doing wheelies and flips, and I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. My 2-year-old son, they can barely walk. If he can do it, of course I can do it, right? So I get on that thing, and I get the little Razor, and I put one foot on it, and I take one little swipe like this, and the Razor takes off, and it hits a crack in our driveway. And it stopped immediately, but I did not. And I go flying over, you know, the handlebars, and I break 2 bones in my wrist and 1 in my elbow. And this was in South Carolina, so we're there in the South. And I go into the doctor, and I'm getting wrapped up, and this sweet little old lady looks at me, and she goes, now tell me again what happened, son. And I said, you know, I was there, and I bought this Razor. She goes, oh, okay, and your 2-year-old son did it? I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, oh, your 2-year-old son did it, you thought you could do it? I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, oh, bless your heart. That's my time, guys. Thank you so much.